American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time of my life. When the words all come down.
Welcome to August 1944 on American Timelines. My name is Joe, and I'm joined with Hunter Bizzle, the pilot baboo. Hunter, how you doing?
Doing good.
All right.
Just had my 34th birthday.
Oh, you just turned 34, you young man. And you are someone who celebrates your birthday for the whole week.
The weekend. I think especially because it was on a Friday this year, so I got to kind of got to party all weekend. It was nice.
I turned 50 this coming year, so and it's
That's
also
a
on
big
a Friday.
one.
Yeah, it is a big one. It's a big one.
You know what you're doing yet?
I have to work that day. We have I have the Kruger Brothers show at Lost Worlds Brewing. You should come out. I should make everybody come to my show and celebrate my birthday. Maybe I'll spend the night there after it's like a bluegrass band. You ever heard of the Kruger Brothers?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, look them up. They're an old bluegrass band. They're kind of cool.
I like bluegrass.
Yeah, come up to Lost Worlds Brewing in Cornelius. We'll hang out. But so not to take away from your birthday, you just had your birthday weekend. You went to the zoo. You ate some sushi, and then you finished out with a live show.
Yep, karaoke. Oh well, yeah. And then saw Lucy Darling on Sunday, but karaoke with
karaoke at Jeff's Bucket Shop. Yeah,
Friday. Yeah,
that's good. That's good. So that's cool. Well, happy birthday, sir! And I'd like to take this moment to apologize to the listeners. Number one, for Art Star and Gruff Steve Bishop not being here. They are busy doing other things.
very busy.
But we decided we can't wait any longer. We haven't put up there. This will be the first episode of 2026 because I think the last one came out.
That's true.
In November, December. So sorry, listeners.
February.
Yeah, I'd like to apologize.
3/4 of the way.
That's a long time. If any listeners are left, if they haven't all gone away because it's been so long, but I think they've become used to that kind of erratic schedule with American Timelines. We've been around since 2018, so we put them out when we can. But now it's just going to be Hunter and I for the first half of August. We're going to cover the first half of August 1944, pick up where we left off. And I've got some tidbits, and Hunter's going to do a deep dive at the end of this episode on the Fort Lawton Riots. Is that what it's called?
Lawton.
Fort Lawton Riots in Seattle, which I never heard of till I started researching this month. So shall we just jump right into August 1944, Hunter?
Let's do it.
August 1944, folks, was the month that the war visibly turned. The war is still deadly serious at this time, but the cracks are starting to show, and reality starts getting absurd in very human ways. During the chaos, after the Normandy breakout, Allied POWs kept accidentally escaping because German guards just wandered off. They were starting to give up. One U.S. POW later said his guard told him, "Go this way. The Americans are that way." Then he left. So the POW assumed it was a trick, but it was not. And that guard was just done with the war, and he walked off to the Americans. The August 1944 vibe for the young kids was, "I quit, good luck." So this was after D-Day, so it just kind of started dwindling. Still there, but dwindling. In August of 1944, there was the Great Parisian. That's how I say people from Paris. Parisians.
Yes.
The Great Parisian traffic jam of liberation. So when Paris was liberated, nobody was in charge of traffic because the police were gone. The Germans were then gone. Resistance fighters were busy celebrating. Civilians just poured into the streets. The result, a liberation-level gridlock. American tanks sat stuck behind bicycles and carts, people hugging and people dancing, people kissing soldiers on the face. One Allied officer reportedly screamed, "We liberated the city, but we can't get through it." Victory was delayed by romance and baguettes. Also, drunk resistance fighters accidentally started arresting each other. In Paris and other cities, resistance groups emerged all at the same time, and many of them meeting each other for the first time, all claiming authority. The problem is everyone had guns, everybody had armbands, and everybody had been drinking confiscated wine. So there are documented cases of resistance units arresting other resistance units, each accusing the other of being German spies, only resolving it when someone said, "Wait, Jean from the bakery?" Oh. So it was kind of chaos, but a lighthearted bit of the war. People were arrested because their accent was suspicious, or they didn't know the right slang, or they knew too much slang. It led to some truly Monty Python moments of, "You're under arrest. For what? I'm not sure yet." German soldiers also pretended to be the French badly at this time. As German discipline collapsed, soldiers tried to blend in. Common mistakes were wearing civilian clothes, but marching in formation, speaking French with aggressive Prussian accents, or asking for directions while saluting. Civilians often caught them by saying, "Vive de Gaulle!" And if the response was confusion or terror, they were busted. There was a legendary shoe problem. By August 1944, German supply was so broken that some soldiers traded rifles for food. They traded their watches for shoes. They fought in mismatched boots or wooden clogs sometimes because they didn't have any other supplies. Allied troops reported Germans surrendering because their feet were bleeding. And then also there was reports of laundry lines stopping armored advances. In French villages, Allied units sometimes halted because laundry lines were strung across the roads. Nobody wanted to knock them down because locals were very, very protective of their underwear. Soldiers had politely asked civilians to remove laundry during an invasion. "Ma'am, could you move the bloomers? We're trying to defeat fascism."
That's like you ever live in a place where you have like a shared laundry area?
Oh, yes.
And like, you go downstairs and someone's laundry's done, you need the washer.
You give it
like,
some
do
time.
I move their stuff?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's been 30 minutes. Like I gotta, and then
I gotta
you
do
like,
my laundry.
finally,
yeah.
right when you decide to move it, they come down and
They
what are you
show up.
doing?
Yeah, get your hands off my underwear. Yeah. Yeah, I don't miss those days. In Chicago, we always had a laundry in the basement. It was like, what do you do? And
I had a dryer that would eat my like it would eat things. Like
ugh.
just every time I ran the laundry, like something would just get absolutely destroyed. Either a shirt, pair of shorts.
Oh yeah, that sucks. And you can't do anything about it really.
Yeah.
I always felt like I was the only person ever cleaning out the lint trap. It's like, Jesus, nobody's ever entered.
Start a fire here.
Yeah, it's gonna burn the whole apartment building down. Anyway, there were Germans. There were a lot of German fake surrenders, and they would fake surrender to everyone. German units surrendered to Americans, to British, to Free French, to random resistance groups. Sometimes the first person they saw, they would surrender to. There are cases of Germans surrendering to a single Allied soldier, unarmed civilians, teenagers with armbands. One group reportedly surrendered twice in the same day to different armies. August 1944 is proof that even the biggest events in history sometimes unravel like a farce, with tanks stuck behind bicycles and everyone yelling in 3 languages. This is August 1944. So jumping into the dates, August 4th, 1944, Richard Belzer was born. Are you familiar with Richard Belzer, Hunter?
I'm not.
He is an older comedian, and he's really famous for later in his life, and he's now deceased, unfortunately, but later in his life, he was in a show called, is it NCIS or?
Munch!
You know who he is. Who is he?
Munch! From,
It's not NCIS, right? It's,
Law and Order, SVU.
Law and Order, SVU.
He's the guy that hangs out with Ice-T.
Yes. Yeah, so, you know him as that guy. I know him as a comedian from the 80s.
Natalie loves Law and Order SVU.
Oh,
and I watch it with her, but I live in an alternate reality where Ice-T and Munch are the main characters. And I don't even know Ice-T's name in the show. I just refer to him as Ice-T.
Ice-T. Yeah. And I wouldn't know Richard Belzer's name because I know him as Richard Belzer, but he was a comedian in my day, being an older guy. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about his life. and something interesting I found. Richard Belzer came into the world August 4th, 1944 in Bridgeport, Connecticut, where he learned early that making people laugh was a great way to survive a tough childhood, and an even better way to avoid getting yelled at by his mom. Before he graced the stage and screen, Belzer walked the halls of Fairfield Ward High School in Fairfield, Connecticut, where the mascot is none other than the mighty Ram. Imagine Belzer in his formative years cheering on the Rams, not just the animal, but the football team, though it's likely his cheers were sprinkled with snarky commentary and clever comebacks. So Fairfield Ward High School has produced more than just Belzer's biting humor. Among its notable alumni is John Mayer, Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter, known for his soulful tunes. Are you a Mayer fan?
I mean, I would be the opposite of a John Mayer fan. I would be a Taylor Swift fan.
Okay, so you hate John Mayer.
I do.
Okay. Oh, and there's a rivalry there, right?
Oh yeah. Well, they dated for a time, and
That's right.
he was not a very nice person.
It didn't end well. Yeah. Well, that school also claims Peter Dykos. You know who that is?
Sounds familiar.
He's an Australian rules football legend. Tom Penders, a prominent college basketball coach. They also graduated from that same school. So something in the Ram water breeds talent and maybe a dash of eccentricity.
Every time we do these, Joe, I feel like whenever you find a famous person's alma mater, like I just always think to myself that like no one famous came out of my school.
Yeah,
like
mine
like,
too.
And well, is it like some of these schools, like what was going on there? Like that's just producing better people.
I think
not better people, but
some of it is like bigger cities. Like if you come from a big, this school is in, did I say it's in Fairfield? Well, it's in Bridgeport, Connecticut. That's not that big. But my biggest theory on this is almost a big percentage of the people who have made it in the world and become famous already have money and are wealthy. So they went to a wealthy school. And you look at that school, a lot of people have made it because they're also wealthy because it takes money to get anywhere. My school is a very not wealthy school. And there's probably somebody like remotely famous that might have went there. But so it's up to you and me to become the famous people from our school with this podcast. So how about that? Anyway, back to Richard Belzer. He bounced from Dean College after being expelled, which was a running start towards a classic comedian lifestyle. Then he dove into New York stand-up scene, sharpening the dry, suspicious, I don't buy into this kind of humor that became his trademark. And after warming up the crowd for SNL and appearing in oddball films, Belzer ultimately became America's favorite trench coat-wearing conspiracy theorist detective, John Munch, which is what you know, a role he played across 23 years and 11 TV series. There's a lot of Law and Orders, right?
Oh, yes. So many.
And he stubbornly refused to retire from television no matter how many criminals he interrogated or universes he crossed. Off-screen, Belzer chased conspiracy theories. He wrote books about them, survived being accidentally knocked out by Hulk Hogan. Yes, really. He was all...
Sued him for $5 million.
Yeah, so you heard about this? So, yeah,
yes.
March 27, 1985, Hulk Hogan legitimately knocked out Richard Belzer during a live episode of the talk show Hot Properties. 4 days before the first WrestleMania, Hogan and Mr. T appeared on the show to promote the event. Belzer repeatedly asked Hogan to demonstrate a wrestling hold. Despite initially refusing, Hogan applied a front chin lock, which was a sleeper hold, on Belzer. And Belzer passed out, and when Hogan released him, Belzer fell, hitting his head on the hard studio floor. And upon regaining consciousness, Belzer was bleeding from the back of his head. He required 9 stitches at a hospital. Belzer sued Hogan for $5 million in personal injury damages. The case was settled out of court.
So he asked for it, though.
Yeah, so he did, yeah.
He asked him to do something.
He asked him to do it. And if I recall, I feel like I've seen the video of this. Wasn't he like sort of like suggesting wrestling's fake, it's not any, doesn't hurt and stuff like that, which I know some of these guys get pissed if you do that.
Sounds like a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. Anyway, the case was settled out of court in 1990 for a reported $400,000. And then so Belzer took that money and he purchased a home in France, which he nicknamed Chez Hogan. So how about that? And that's where he ended
Love
up
it.
dying. February 19th, 2023, at the age of 78, Belzer passed away from complications related to circulatory and respiratory issues. He had reportedly been suffering from several health issues in his later years. So he died peacefully at his home in southwest France, which I think is Shane Hogan. According to his longtime friend, writer Bill Sheft, Belzer's last words were, "Fuck you, motherfucker."
Hell yeah.
In short, Richard Belzer spent his life proving that sarcasm, a sharp mind, and one really iconic detective role can take you just about anywhere, including primetime immortality. I love that you recognize him from that because it was going to be 5 minutes of me explaining some guy you didn't, you had no idea what
Yeah.
I was talking about. So that's good.
No, big fan. Very, very big fan.
That's
And
good. But you didn't know
really
his
the
name was
only reason
Richard
I
Belzer.
enjoy watching Law and Order. No,
Yeah,
I just know him as Munch, and I
yeah,
know Ice-T is Ice-T.
that's cool. That's good. Law and Order. That's good entertainment. Um, Now that brings us to August 5th, 1944, when Bing Crosby went to #1 on the Billboard singles charts with a song called "Swinging on a Star." Are you familiar with that song?
I am. Very, Bing Crosby, very popular in the holiday time.
Yeah, you seem like a Bing Crosby guy. Those of you who don't know Hunter, he's kind of got some moxie for a young man. But the whole song was inspired by Bing Crosby scolding his own kid at the dinner table. When his son complained about not wanting to go to school, Crosby quipped, "If you don't go to school, you might grow up to be a mule." That offhand dad joke made songwriter Jimmy Van Heusen stop mid meal and think, wait, that's a hit. He took that line to the lyricist Johnny Burke, and the rest became bouncy animal based musical history. That's according to songfacts.com. Even funnier, the song became so iconic that the Far Side parodied it. I don't know if you remember this. Remember the Far Side
Riverside?
books, Far Side
Yes.
comics?
Yes.
It asked the eternal question, would you rather be a pig, which is exactly the sort of weird cultural honor not every Oscar winning tune gets. So if you make a Far Side cartoon, you've made it as far as I'm concerned. That brings us to August 6th. The Philadelphia transit strike was broken as a result of U.S. military intervention under the Smith-Connolly Act. In short, in August 1944, Philly's transit system collapsed because 8 black trainees were finally allowed to drive trolleys. They didn't let black people drive trolleys until then. So a bunch of white workers promptly declared, nope, not on our tracks. They called in sick en masse at the exact same time. It was the world's pettiest group sick day, shutting down buses, trolleys, and subways, turning Philly into a giant, sweaty game of find a ride. People were hitchhiking, roller skating, and clinging to passing vehicles just to get to work. That's according to PhillyVoice.com. And the strike got so ridiculous that President Franklin D. Roosevelt basically had to ground the nation's biggest temper tantrum by putting the transit system under military control and threatening the strikers with losing their draft deferments. Because nothing says get back to work like the U.S. Army staring at you. And after all that drama, the 8 black drivers kept their jobs anyway. The strike ended, and the only thing the strikers proved was that stopping an entire city is easier than accepting new coworkers. Those racist fucks.
Very petty.
Yeah.
Very, very petty.
Yep. Yep. Shit like that is nuts. And that's today's right wing. Monday, August 7th, 1944. We have another birthday. Are we ready? Oh, we need a new birthday theme song.
Happy
Hunter
birthday to
loves
you.
birthdays. John Glover was born in Salisbury, Maryland. You know who that is?
John Glover.
He was in
No.
Smallville. He played Lionel Luthor in Smallville.
Didn't watch
Dr.
Smallville.
Jason Woodrue in Batman and Robin, and the voice of Riddler in the DC animated universe. He
Oh,
also
and Batman the Animated Series?
yeah, I think so. Batman and Robin and
The
Riddler in
best
the
Batman.
DC. Yeah, he also played the
And
role of Daniel Clamp in Gremlins 2: The New Batch. Uh, and we don't have to go into him very much because we don't really
because I don't know.
we don't know him really. I don't really know him, and Yeah, I think when I originally put this out, I was expecting Art and Steve to be here, which they probably know him. But we don't have to talk about that.
I'm looking at his
He doesn't look familiar
filmography,
to
and
me.
yeah, nothing I notice.
Well, August 9th of 1944 was a Wednesday, and the first poster depicting Smokey Bear, a mascot created to educate the American public about the dangers of forest fires, was
That was
released.
the other option. That was the other thing. I think before you assigned me something,
Oh, you
I
want to
was
do
like,
Smokey the Bear?
I wanted to do so. I have
Oh, you
I have a
can.
short Smokey the Bear story.
Oh,
If you
you
have,
do? Yeah. Can you share it?
yes. So I was in Boy Scouts as a young lad, and we would go on a summer camp trip every year. And the summer camp that we went to had a uh, one of those like fire level, like how dangerous is the chance of a forest fire, and of
Okay.
course had a large wooden cutout of Smokey the Bear on it,
Yep.
two-sided, so two panels of Smokey the Bear, one on each side. And we had, as young lads do, we wanted to pull a prank.
Yeah.
And so our plan, we worked this out weeks in advance. We wanted to steal Smokey the Bear. And so sometimes we would send kids up for what we called provisional camp, where you could go a week or two ahead of time to like
Okay.
get some extra camp days in, get some extra merit badges and stuff.
Yeah.
So we sent one kid and we told him, we were like, hey, you have to go measure all the bolts on Smokey so we know like what size bolts we need. So he
Oh,
went
yeah.
ahead of time,
To
figured out
unbolt
like,
them,
oh,
yeah.
it's a 5/8, like we'll just get the 5/8 and a ratchet.
How big was this
And
Smokey?
I mean, it was like person sized.
Okay, yeah. So
Like,
like big boy, like the size of a big
yeah.
boy guy. Yeah.
So we yeah, week of camp. I think we waited till maybe like the second or the third day, and we all snuck out of our tents at night, ran down to the it was in front of the dining hall, snuck up
Yes.
to it, even though no one was looking.
Yeah.
Like
Nobody cared. Yeah.
we made it seem like we were like the
Yeah.
top
You're being.
secret
Yeah.
spies,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
being super stealthy, and just totally overkill. So we end up, we detach it from the sign and we bring it back to our camp and hide it. I think we hid it like up under a couple of the tents.
Really?
And the next day we went to the dining hall. We're like looking around like, oh, like
Anybody
everyone
notice?
everyone must be talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone knows.
Yeah.
And of course, so we get through like camp morning announcements, nothing
Yeah.
is said, and
Yeah.
like it gets all the way until like I think it was the morning the next day, and we were finally just like tired of it, and so we
Yeah.
went to one of the camp counselors, and we were like, so hey, notice anything missing? And they were just like, no, like what are you
They
talking
didn't even.
about?
They didn't even notice.
No one noticed. No
No
one had
one
any clue.
cared.
We're like, oh yeah, we stole Smokey the Bear, and they were like, oh, give it back. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point of something like that is like
Yeah,
somebody
it was
should
like
be
it was
appalled
the
or
dead center of the middle of the
yeah.
camp, and the supposed to be the thing that tells everyone,
And
there's a high
nobody
chance of forest
noticed.
fires. No one was looking at it. No one ever
Nobody
looked.
ever noticed it was
People looked at the
gone.
weather. People looked at the weather rock more than the
Yeah, that's correct.
Smokey the Bear. Are you familiar with a weather rock?
I'm not really.
So it's a meteorological device.
Okay.
You set a large rock out in the middle of the field,
Okay.
so it helps you tell the weather.
Okay.
So if it's wet, it's raining. If it's hot, if you touch it and it's hot, it's sunny. If it's cold, it's cloudy. And if it's
Okay.
gone, hurricane.
Yeah, that makes sense. If it's gone, hurricane. I like that.
Stupid camp stuff.
Yeah, that's camp stuff. Yeah. I only spent one summer at a camp. It was at school. Everybody had to go to it as part of the fifth grade thing. Fifth grade, everybody went for a week. And I did not want to go. I'm not an outdoors guy. I'm not a, shower with a bunch of people guy. Like I was not shitting and sharing a shitter. I did not want to do it. And actually, Steve was with me because we went to school together. He didn't want to do it either. We hated it. We hated every second of it. I think we ended up having fun, but it was one of those things like we were determined to hate it, so we just
Yeah.
hated it.
But
the
I
whole
bet you
time.
had fun hating it together.
We did. Yeah, I think we did. And so I don't know, it was all blur when I think back, but we'd go sit by the campfire and sing songs and whatever. And, it's kind of weird, at that age, fifth grade, is the girls' camp and the boys' camp. And there was a couple kids that like had rubber sheets, so you found out who wet the bed and stuff like that. It's like one kid freaked out, and, it's like these are kids we go to school with, and now we know way too much about them. Like, I don't want to know this much
True.
about everybody,
True.
what they sleep in and what they, who wets the bed, whatever. So
Rubber sheets. I've never heard of that.
you never heard of that? Yeah.
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
I don't know if it's still a thing. It was then, I think. Okay. Anyway, there's another birthday on August 9th, 1944. Uh, and he is known as the Mustache, the myth, the legend. Mr. Sam Elliott was born in Sacramento, California. Of course, you know who this is, right?
Of course, of course.
Yeah, of
not
course.
not the biggest fan in the world, but
Well,
I'm aware.
you
I'm
have
aware.
to be a fan of The Big Lebowski,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So he's the narrator of that. So if you've ever felt a mysterious urge to buy beef, grow a mustache, or narrate your own life with a baritone twang, you're probably under the spell of Sam Elliott. With a voice deeper than the Grand Canyon and a mustache thick enough to lasso cattle, Sam has charmed audiences for decades. But before he made mustaches cool again, he was just a kid with big dreams, bigger hair, and an unyielding craving for adventure. Born August 9th, 1944 in Sacramento, California, Sam Elliott didn't pop out of the womb with that iconic mustache, though. Rumor has it he did have a 5 o'clock shadow by nap time. Young Sam spent his childhood wrangling backyard critters instead of cattle and perfecting the smoldering squint that would one day melt cinema screens and unsuspecting ice cream cones. Sam Elliott attended David Douglas High School in Portland, Oregon, a fact he'd probably narrate himself if you ask nicely, and had some barbecue handy. The school's mascot, the fiercely majestic Scotsman. Yes, nothing says Pacific Northwest quite like kilts, bagpipes, and the lingering scent of haggis in the cafeteria. David Douglas High School wasn't just home to Sam, it has a tradition of producing folks destined for greatness or quirky fame. Among its notable alumni are Mitch Greenlick, Oregon state legislator, Ann Curry, the celebrated television journalist, and that's all I could find. Only one can imagine the school reunions. Elliott out mustaching everyone, Curry chasing a scoop, and the Scotsman mascot photobombing every shot. After high school, Sam took his dulcet tones and gradually thickening mustache to Hollywood. He paid his dues with bit parts in westerns and appeared in classics like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, where his mustache may have had more screen time than he did. Persistence and perhaps some magical hair tonic eventually paid off. Sam's breakthrough came with Lifeguard in 1976, where he flexed his muscles and his acting chops. But it was the Western genre where he truly became a legend. Tombstone, The Quick and the Dead, The Big Lebowski. Over the years, he's lent his voice to beef commercials, animated animals, and anything that needed an extra dose of gravitas. If Morgan Freeman was busy, Sam got the call. Awards followed, but Sam remained humble. He once claimed he keeps his trophies next to his mustache combs and a jar labeled "More Grit." Off-season, Sam Elliott is a charming, down-to-earth character. He's been married to actress Catherine Ross since 1984, a long Hollywood marriage by any measure, surely held together by mutual admiration and a shared love of Western wear. The couple has one daughter, Cleo Rose Elliott.
He's the beef. It's what's for dinner guy.
He is.
Yeah. Originally done by Robert Mitchum. After his death in 1997, Sam Elliott brought it back in 1999.
It's what's for dinner. Yeah, I can hear him saying that.
It's what's for dinner.
Yeah, so that's Sam Elliott. That's his birthday, August 9th. And we're getting really close to Hunter taking over, but I've got one more that I can't pass up. August 12th, 1944 was a Saturday. And Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr., who was born on July 25th, 1915 in Brookline, Massachusetts, was killed. He was the eldest son of Joseph P. Kennedy Sr. and Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy. So he's JFK's older brother. He was raised in a prominent, affluent family. Joseph Jr. was groomed for leadership and public service from a young age. He attended Harvard University, where he excelled academically and athletically, earned a reputation for his charm, intelligence, and ambition. With the outbreak of World War II, Joseph Kennedy enlisted in the U.S. Navy, became a naval aviator, and was assigned to the British Royal Air Force Bomber Command as part of a joint mission. Kennedy flew dangerous missions over Europe, demonstrating courage and commitment to his country. And on August 12, 1944, he died during Operation Aphrodite, a secret mission intended to destroy German military targets using explosive-laden aircraft piloted remotely after the crew bailed out. Kennedy volunteered for the mission, but his plane exploded prematurely over England, killing him instantly. His untimely death devastated his family and ended the hopes that he would become the first Kennedy to pursue high political office.
Just a doomed family from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, that family they've had a lot of tragedy. A lot of money, but a lot of tragedy. Joseph Kennedy Jr.'s life was marked by promise, patriotism, and sacrifice. His death profoundly affected the Kennedy family, leading his younger brother, JFK, to take up the political mantle and eventually become president of the United States. Joseph Jr. is remembered as a courageous aviator and a symbol of the family's dedication to public service and country. Ask not what you can do, what your country can do for you. I'm not a very good impressionist on that, and that's the last thing I have before we get to August 14th, 1944, which was a Monday. And Hunter, you have an event that you have.
Yes, a little known event called the
researched.
Fort Lawton Riots.
Yeah, so you hadn't heard of this before.
I hadn't heard of it, and it seems like a lot of people hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, I hadn't either,
It was difficult to find information. You'll see it. I named my PowerPoint this week. I named it "And Why Checking Sources is Important," because it was just riddled with misinformation, contradicting facts, all sorts of stuff that I had to dig through a lot of things to kind of figure out what happened.
Well, I appreciate your time doing that because so before you had chosen that, I had kind of put together an overview and I found the same thing. It was like, oh, wait, this says this, but then this other site says not that.
Yep.
So, but some of this comes with the territory of racism and lies, right? Doesn't some of that have to play with it? Like history was not told correctly by the racists. Like when you let history be told by the people in charge, it's sometimes not the correct stuff. So that's part of it too. People whitewash history also. So let's get into it. You tell us. You take it away.
So Fort Lawton was a major military outpost in Seattle, Washington. It was the largest embarkation point for troops heading to the Pacific Theater.
Okay.
And it also held prisoners of war during World War II. Approximately 1,000 Germans and 5,000 Italians passed through on the way to Hawaii. I guess they had a larger internment camp there. So they kept them at this spot until they could move them onto boats to take them to Hawaii. So who was involved? Kind of the mix-up of the makeup of the fort. You had majority Italian POWs as well as African American soldiers. The African American soldiers were kind of stationed there as kind of just extra hands.
Okay.
A lot of the jobs that they were given weren't very glamorous. They were sometimes forced to do more work than the prisoners were, which kind of leads to some of the infighting that happened later. And then the Italian prisoners of war, as well as the military personnel and military police, which were majority white.
Okay.
So in World War II, the majority of the U.S. Army units were still segregated. So, like I said, you had a majority black soldier units here. And then the white units that were more officers and policing not only the prisoners but also the seen as lower um, African American units.
Gotcha.
The Italian POWs sometimes received even better treatment than the black soldiers did, often
Jesus.
being given leave to go off the base and go to movies in town.
Prisoners of war?
Yes, there was even
What?
reports of them like going on dates with the local girls
What?
in the area.
That's
Basically, it sounds
crazy.
like they were basically like allowed to leave. It was just like, hey, you have to come back
Just come
by
back.
curfew. Yeah,
God.
which I guess like
Yeah. Is that a
if
prisoner
you
of war? Like, is that?
maybe it was harder to leave without people knowing. But I feel like today, like
Yeah.
someone could just dip and
You just
they'd be
blend right
gone
in.
very
Yeah.
quickly. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Um,
Because I
but
can't
so
picture an American prisoner of war, being over in Italy somewhere and them just like,
yeah, and be
go
like,
see
yeah, you
movies and
can
stuff.
like, yeah, go into town. Just make sure you come back. We'll
Yeah,
be
yeah,
here. We'll be looking for you. We got a list. You
yeah.
got to check your name off on your
But I
way
mean
in.
that really that is intense racism like that. Like you
Yeah,
said, they're treated better than. I mean, not that the black soldiers um were prisoners. They're not they're actually soldiers that work there, but
right.
treating the prisoners better than the employees,
Yeah, your coworkers,
your coworkers.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesus, that's nuts.
So, an amount of resentment and tension between the groups grew
Yeah,
over time, and then you have the cushy whites sitting up at the top, just kind of
right.
overseeing and basically just being like, ah, yeah, like the Italians, they don't like the black soldiers because we treat the Italians better, and
Yeah,
the yeah, it just
yeesh.
it was a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
So, August 1944, August 14th, a new group of Italian POWs arrives back to the fort late at night.
Okay.
There, a large group of the black soldiers were due to ship out the next day, I believe.
Okay.
So they were out partying, getting drunk,
Yeah.
seeing all their lovely lasses in town, saying,
Sure. Last hurrah, right?
might be the last time you see me. I'm going to the war. Um, and they were reportedly drunk and disorderly, but I can't really find like there's no confirmation of this. Like even if you look at the Wikipedia page, half of the paragraphs here end in citation needed. Like
Yeah.
basically someone just like wrote this down and was like, yeah, I think this is what happened.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I read. So you
Um,
don't know if any of it's true.
yeah. And so arguments began when these Italian POWs are coming back, and these black soldiers, who I'm assuming had to come back to work, kind of are
Yeah.
now interacting with them coming back from their night out on the town. And basically a fight broke out at some point between the soldiers and the POWs.
Okay.
The chaos spread quickly, seemingly from a whistle that was claimed to be blown. Again, don't really know if that happened or not.
Yeah.
That kind of came up later in the trial, and there were multiple other people that said, I didn't hear a whistle was blown. The black soldiers allegedly stormed the Italian barracks and beat and stabbed Italian prisoners. As some of the Italian prisoners were trying to escape, jump out of windows, there were groups of soldiers waiting outside to basically catch and either kill or beat them again.
Yeah.
The military police, again, the cushy white job sitting at the top, apparently took them, I think it said like almost a half hour for them to arrive on the scene, and like it was on a military
So
base.
just like a
It's not
half an hour of chaos until
yeah, just
it
like
could be
going on,
stopped.
and yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Then and so apparently the violence continued until the early morning.
Wow.
Kind of the centerpiece, if you will, of the riot was the death of, and I'm gonna absolutely butcher the pronunciation of this name. Guglielmo? 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 Guglielmo. That can't be it. Guglielmo Oliveto. Um, was found dead. His body discovered hanging in an. There were mixed reports. One person said in a nearby ravine. Another person said in a nearby obstacle course. Maybe the obstacle course was in the ravine. Again, very mixed reports of everything. And Army investigators claim that he was beaten, murdered, and lynched. Almost immediately, things start to be covered up. So there was a very quick destruction of evidence. Like there were, I think they said there were weapons that were just like thrown into a pile. Some of the piles were immediately torched and burnt. There were rumors that this was
We
ordered
are
by.
looking at how to pronounce these name in Italian. How do you say it? Guglielmo. Guglielmo. Stress on the
Guglielmo.
L syllable. Guglielmo.
Guglielmo. So
Guglielmo.
it was. Sorry, I lost my sound for a second.
No,
So
you're good.
he was an Italian POW, and he was lynched.
Yes, yes.
Guglielmo. Guglielmo.
They said, according to
Yeah.
history, quote unquote,
Right.
by the black soldiers.
Right.
And then very quickly the next morning, the massive cover up begins. Evidence is destroyed. All of the weapons were collected into one single pile. They weren't assigned to like, oh, like this weapon was wielded by this person in
Yeah.
this
No
group.
fingerprints. No nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, they were all just like thrown together. The barracks were completely repaired and repainted by the end of the day.
Wow.
So like very clearly, like we're trying to cover this up. Like this, it never happened. Like the general's coming in tomorrow.
Yeah.
We can't have things looking like this when he comes in. And then the white military police claimed that they couldn't identify anyone.
Anybody who was involved, I don't know who did it.
Quote, they all look the same, which
Jesus.
does not look good.
Yes.
And then one black soldier claimed that the white military police started it and then later encouraged the black soldiers to join. So from their side of the story,
see that. I could see that being the case.
Yes. So from their side of the story, the Cushy whites started all this, then later got some of the blacks to join, and then the next day they were like, oh, like we were just there cleaning things up. And I think like when you hear the that they didn't respond for 30 minutes before it happened, like
they were wanting them to fight. Is probably they knew they.
I don't think it was even wanting them. I think they were involved. I think
they were involved in the fighting too. But I could see them like.
Unless they're just like standing by, like watch it, or goading them on. Yeah, maybe
goading them on. Yeah, I saw an episode. This is stupid. I'm going to relate this to an episode of the A-Team. I've been rewatching the A-Team from 1985, and like one of the second or third episode is a prison. Is in a prison, and all the shitty white racist. This is somewhere in the South. Prison guards and prison warden are all pitting prisoners against each other, and they're making bets on who's going to win, and so it's like kind of like cockfighting or whatever you call like the gladiator stuff. You know, they're betting, they're making prisoners fight to the death. I could see this being they already don't get along. Let's instigate some shit. Let it go for 30 minutes to see what happens, or maybe not. You know, who am I to speculate?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy that they cleaned up everything, put all the weapons in a pile. Like that's some crazy.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah,
nothing happened.
And there's probably some alcohol involved, but probably with everybody. 1944, it was a different time. People were different. A lot of racism, so that's got to play a part.
And so then again, war, you know, like kind of the reason I titled this "Check Your Sources."
Yeah.
One of the here on the Wikipedia it says, um, just after 11 p.m., an intoxicated black soldier and his three companions crossed paths with three Italian prisoners of war. Words were exchanged. The black soldier rushed forward, and with one punch, an Italian knocked the American out cold. So, drunk black guy rushes
Yeah.
the Italian. The Italian knocks him out on the way in, and then that starts the fight.
Okay.
Then in the next paragraph, a number of soldiers, including Private Samuel Snow, ran after the Italians, wielding boards from a fence that they broke down.
Huh.
Now, like that name Samuel Snow, that's going to come up later, but like
Okay.
again, this entire paragraph here ends with uh, citation needed. So someone just wrote this on the Wikipedia page, like, "Yep, that's it."
Yeah.
Like, but didn't source anything. Yeah. So then, soon there was a court martial for the entire event. 43 soldiers were charged. 28 of them were convicted. I believe the majority of them were, uh, if not all of them, were black. None of the white military police were convicted of anything. Sentences included prison terms and dishonorable discharges, and the defense's main argument was that the evidence was weak or unreliable. Which, reading back on it, it's like, yeah, like I don't see how you punished anybody because you clearly had nothing to go on.
Yep.
Problems with the case, there were confusing eyewitness accounts. Again, little physical evidence because everything was just kind of tossed together or destroyed or covered. And then an obvious racial bias
Yep.
would later influence those proceedings as well. Decades later, a journalist who was walking through the local, I believe it was like a World War II memorial nearby. And there is at the Fort Lawton Military Cemetery, there is a headstone for Private Guglielmo Olivato. Guglielmo Olivato at this cemetery, and this journalist who was covering something completely else noticed this headstone and was like, "Why is this Italian soldier dead here?" And looked back into it. He released an article in his paper, and then that led to the case being reopened.
Huh.
Evidence suggested a heavy miscarriage of justice.
Yep.
And then the U.S. Army re-examined its convictions in the early 2000s. Several convictions were overturned in 2007, citing serious legal and investigative errors. And the black soldiers were officially cleared more than
Exonerated.
60 years later, with only 2 of them still alive.
Ugh. That's
Yeah.
crazy. It's all you kind of wonder, like, why even bother? But it's important that they still do. But yeah, God, those poor people went through their lives wrongly.
And so for the 2 soldiers that were still alive,
yeah,
they held a ceremony in Seattle to kind of bring back their honor from their
okay.
quote unquote dishonorable discharge.
Ugh.
Roy Montgomery was one of them. He did not attend.
Yeah, I would
and,
too. I'd be like, fuck you.
he said, quote, "This is a great satisfaction. Now I can forget about the whole thing. That's all I ever wanted to do."
Ugh.
He died at the age of 91, survived by a daughter, 3 grandsons, and numerous great-grandchildren. The other one,
Yeah.
Samuel Snow. So the one that in this article says that he chased these Italians down with boards.
With the board, yeah.
Yeah. During the morning of the ceremony, he became ill Hours later, his family brought his honorable discharge to his hospital bedside, where he held it to his chest and smiled broadly. And
Oh,
that night, he died.
oh.
Yeah,
It
yeah. So like,
reminds me of that.
finally,
Who's that
finally
guy?
gets justice, and then like he's like,
Yeah, he's,
I'm out.
oh my God. It reminds me of who's the guy? The character in the MCU, the black Captain America, the older guy
Oh,
that was friends with Sam, and
yes,
then I
yeah,
left him.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
like, "Fuck you," you know. He's like,
yeah,
"Fuck America," you know, "Fuck the white
yeah.
people," you know. I can't ever trust them, and then they mind control them, and now they're throwing them in another fucking jail, you know. Uh, they mind control and making, that character. God, I'm trying to blank on what his name is in that.
Yeah. But even still, even to this day, this stupid Wikipedia page blames him
Oh, it still blames
with no
that guy
yeah,
that was
with
exonerated,
yeah,
Samuel
yeah,
Snow.
yeah. Right here at the top it says during the riot, Samuel Snow ran after the Italians, wielding boards from a fence that they broke down.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still says all that. Isaiah Bradley, that was who. That's the character. I was.
Yeah, and so again, the cover up that that colonel in charge of the fort commanded all all evidence destroyed, and he also tried to ship the black soldiers to San Francisco that same day to try and be like, get out of here, like like you don't want to be here when this shit like comes up, until he was counter commanded after a subordinate reported his actions to the Pentagon. So like someone underneath him was like, hey, like this guy's covering up some shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole thing with all this is like so much of history is recorded by people doing sinister things. It's like who can you trust? That's why we have to invent time travel for history lessons to go back and see what really happened.
But yeah, that's the
Yeah,
Lawton riot. At
that's
least the information that we have.
that's yeah.
Some of it.
Well, I appreciate you digging a little deeper than you normally would have to because that it is like allegedly this, allegedly that. Not everything on Wikipedia is good, but so that's an interesting story. It's part of history. We don't know exactly what happened. We can kind of infer, you can kind of guess based on knowing some people involved. But we're gonna hold it now. We're gonna pause there, and we're gonna come back and finish August. We're gonna pick up on August 19th when the Battle of Paris begins. Next episode, and we'll hopefully have Gruff and Art Star with us. And Hunter, you're welcome to jump on with that one. But I will say it's so hard to schedule all four of us that I will do it whenever I can
If
get
I'm
Art.
available, I'll
Yeah,
be here.
if you're available, jump on. But if you're not, we're gonna do it without you because uh, Gruff is in a play right now. He's acting in a play, so he's not available on weekends. And Art Star's got a crazy work schedule.
Working his butt off.
Yeah, he's working his butt off. He will not have a butt after this. But hopefully they both listen to this so they know what we've already covered in August and our intro into August. But
There you go.
as for you time heads, thanks for waiting for this episode. Sorry it's been so long. We will be back soon, I promise, with the rest of August, and we'll try to all get better. Hunter, why don't you just go ahead and start looking at September of 1944 and find something you want to do, and we'll get a head start on that. But other than that, anything else you want to leave them with, Hunter Brame?
Now I'm obsessed with time.
Hunter Bizzle is obsessed with time, and for the listeners, you can't see him, but he's wearing a hot dog. Is it what is it? Pennsylvania hot dog or
The Philadelphia
Reading?
the Fighting Phils, the Reading Fighting Phils.
The Reading Fighting Phils have a special uniform where they are the Reading hot dogs, and he's got the hat. But Hunter and I have an argument. I think you shouldn't be able to wear those hats until you go to a game. So
Or minor league baseball, however you can.
Yeah, let's support minor league baseball.
And our local team has crap hats.
Yeah,
their
they don't have good
hats
ones.
suck.
Yeah, the Charlotte Knights don't have good ones. But there's
Hickory
gotta
though,
be,
Hickory's got some good shit.
Hickory's got one, and there's Isn't there a team in Gastonia? Like Gastonia, they have like a AAA.
Yeah. I don't
Let's
know
start
if they,
going to
I
those
don't,
even
yeah,
lower ones. You know, the stupid names like the.
yeah.
We got to go to a Trash Pandas game. I think that's somewhere in Alabama. Or something.
Trash. No, I think that's in Houston, isn't it?
I don't know,
It's
but
the
that's
Rocket.
the
It's the
best.
Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Rockets. Okay, we gotta go.
Yeah.
We gotta start going like once a year. We take an annual minor league baseball trip to some town we've never, maybe
Yeah.
even a town we've never even heard of. If they got a small minor league team, just go, spend the night. We'll get an Airbnb. We'll take Art Star. We'll drink some beer, wear stupid hats, bring those hats back, and shout out to them. So I'm making that resolution, starting that this year. All right, sometime in August. Okay. Anyway, thanks for listening to Time Has. Hunter Bizzle's out. I'm Joe.
Get out of here, Chuck Berry.
Yeah, get out of here, Chuck Berry. Now we're obsessed with time. I don't have to end it. I could just end the recording.
Oh, my child, it's about to get wild. Have you been down on the streets today? Say, yeah, now, baby, it's about to get crazy. Everybody's got something to say. We got 10,000 people screaming, oh my God, it's over, but they're never gonna take us away. So you better get believing there's a brand new feeling. If you're asking, I say stay awake, stay awake. I know you feel it on the inside.
Matt Truman Ego Trip is the greatest band of all time. By their music. American Timelines is a product of History for Jerks. Check out historyforjerks.com for all the other weird and cool shiznit. There's The Gruff and Loud Show, a YouTube show for Gen X weirdos who like pop culture and weird shit. There's also The Deborah Jo Ruppyverse Show featuring the mighty art star and Steve Bishop exploring the theory that the actress Deborah Jo Rupp is a nexus being, and every part she has played is one immortal being. Don't forget about the Nerd School podcast and the Threadless Shop, where you can buy a Tito Jackson shirt and a Dabney Coleman hat. Only a stupid dumbass wouldn't want a Dabney Coleman hat, and only a wiener bitch wouldn't want a Tito Jackson shirt.